And there we are. Good evening, everyone. How are you? I am so pleased to be here with you. I'm so pleased to be alive, and I hope you are too. I hope that you have had a good start to your week, and I welcome everyone in this evening. Hi, Kim Jane. Hi, Kelly and Ash, Jean, Joy, Tanya, Lisa, Karen. You made it in. Well done. Thank you. It's lovely to be here. It's also lovely to have my hair back. I was beginning to wonder whether I should really, go into that nice silver look or not, but the answer was not. So thank you, Tanya. That's because I've had a big nana nap this afternoon. That's the truth of it. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd just have to be here in spirit, right? There's a lot to be said for that, especially Christmas spirit, Christ Mass spirit. And we have the Christ consciousness being the talk of the day among a lot of the more, shall we say, attuned spiritual people. That's special word, spiritual. So for everyone that is on a higher frequency, the Christ consciousness is what we would be wanting to achieve and wanting to look into. So, Joe, hi. So when I was preparing for you tonight, I was mindful of a little meme that Joe sent me after last week's show. And I thought I must behave myself tonight. I don't know that I can promise that. I mean, it's a bit much really to have to be boringly straight and boringly serious. There's enough seriousness in the world, don't you think? So who knows? But what I did ask when I was preparing for you was I've been sent, I get sent a lot of stuff, and people ask me, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this? Is this something that you agree with? And that's always an interesting one. Is it something that I agree with? So the latest little play on words from people that get out there on podcasts and things in the spiritual realm is the energy split. Yeah, it's big. The energy split that's going to take place in next year, 2024. Well, what do I think about that? Oh, I'd call that nonsense, because the energy split refers to there being two sectors to humanity, two sectors in the world. Well, hallelujah, here's some news. There always has been, there always will be, because there are those who come to this physical experience and want to be able, there you go, Tanya, you've got a new one, and no doubt now it'll pop up all over the place. But don't get caught up in these fad words, The fact is that forever in recorded history, as we are led to believe it, there have always been those who will go the route and find out about Christ consciousness, and there will be those who follow the establishment or the system. And that's the way it is here. Unless everybody was to go, well, hang on a minute, maybe there's something more to UFOs. Maybe there's something more to me in this world, and they start to evolve, then we wouldn't see the energy split. But that's just not going to happen. It can't happen because the masses are insistent on staying in the establishment. And what I mean by that is they believe in what they can see. So I've been working with a lovely gentleman who felt that ever since his wife passed away 4 years ago, nothing has worked out for their family. Everything has gone bad for their family. But when I asked, what does that mean? He couldn't tell me. And then after much searching, he decided, well, his son's health wasn't any good and nothing I try and do works. So when I asked again, what does that mean? What is it that isn't working? And he's just like, oh, everything. And what I'm saying to you here, again, we talk a lot about the power of words and our thoughts. So here's this man making a statement, a big statement. Michelle, in for the live. How lovely. Good evening. Making this big statement that ever since his wife passed, nothing has gone good or well for my family. So he made it a global thing. Himself, his sister, who lives in Italy, his son, his daughter, and grandchildren. But he wasn't able to be specific. But that is the mantra that he was carrying around, and that's the energy that he was carrying around. Then his wife came through. She actually appeared when I was with his son because they asked me to see his son for his colitis. And I won't repeat what the son said, but what he was meaning was this can't be true until something came along that he could not refute, had to be his mother, and some words that came had to be his mother. But even then, he still wouldn't accept that it was her visiting. And yet, what do they want most of all? They want her. They want to hear from her. They want to know where she is, how she is. But when she comes through and she presents and she talks to me and I explain, well, this is what happens, because they don't believe it, they won't accept it. And yet, it's what they want. Can you imagine how frustrating that would be for loved ones on the other side, in the other realm, that are trying desperately, as they do, to help their loved ones here in the physical world to know that they are in fact listening, they are in fact replying and responding. But their loved ones here are poo-pooing it, going, no, it can't be, and ignoring the signs. So these kind of beliefs and patterns of behaviour are in the masses. Those who are not of that ilk are in the minority. So until we can have it the other way around, there will always be this split in humanity. Now, the thing is too that you came here as an individual soul, but these, whoop-de-doos in the spiritual thing want you to think about the greater consciousness, the global consciousness, the universal consciousness is getting bigger and bigger, isn't it? The universal consciousness. Well, yes, as we've talked about before, it is sad, Lisa. It's frustrating for their mum, his wife. As we've talked about before, our energy affects everyone immediately around us, and it goes out on a bigger scale. But just imagine what this world would be like if everybody was at that frequency of being in the Christ consciousness, being in that beautiful God consciousness. Wow, what a world we would live in. And then why would we come here? Why would we come here? Because after all, we come to this world for the human experience, because it's said to be that through the human experience is where the soul evolves, the soul ascends. The truth of it is, the human experience is how you get closer to heaven and how you get up there back with the divine or your creator. If you come from Mars, well, I don't know, you might go to some other creator, Jupiter, Saturn, who knows. And there is a whole lot of other galaxies that are not known about. And it is really ignorant to assume that this is it. Wouldn't you agree? It's really very naive and ignorant to believe that this is it, that this is the galaxy, this is the universe. No scientist has been able to prove what is in the universe nor how big it is. They have their maths, they have their, their whiz-bang put-togethers with all their weird letters and things, and that sounds great. And people readily accept that. But what if people were to connect? What if they were really to connect with their soul, which is eternal and has the answers? And what if they were to connect with the other realms, especially the realms where their loved ones are, who have passed, including their pets? Wow. Wouldn't that just be a huge wow? And what an amazing world this would be. Multiverse. So, yeah, they still can't tell us what the multiverse is either, Karen. So when you start to read things, yes, Kelly, they don't reveal what they find. They reveal snippets. They don't ever reveal the truth. Yes. 12-year-olds are onto it. 4-year-olds are onto it these days. Quite amazing. So as adults, how much of it do you just accept? How much of what's put in front of you do you just take as verbatim and truth? So, okay, these guys wanted to question, oh, wait, they do reveal some of what they have planned through the movies. Oh, yes, Kelly, absolutely they do. But, people go, well, that's just a movie. Ha ha. So for these this family that really want to connect with their mum, their wife, as I said to the gentleman, there's one thing that is preventing you from being able to do that. And he said, oh, what's that? And I said, your beliefs and your mind, because you only accept what you can see. And he goes, oh, well, I haven't had any proof of anything different. Now, being a long time mystic, esoteric healer, divine channel, I'm used to that comment. I'll only believe it when I see it. How can you believe something if you're not prepared to see it? How can you believe something if you're not going to have an open mind? So he asked how he could connect with his wife. And I said, I'll give you some steps and the process that you can use, but it's not going to work. And he's like, what? Not going to work? And I said, no, because you will need to really open your heart and be able to move past your grief. So, yes, Tanya, open mind, faith, and trust. So when they want to talk about us, split energy and this forecast for next year, It really is absurd. When I asked this evening what the divine messengers would like to bring forward to you, I actually asked about that. I asked, shall we do a forecast? And the answer made me laugh. They can hardly find it in themselves to know themselves in this day right now without having a forecast into a time that is yet to come. Do you like that? I thought that was pretty cool. Did make me laugh, because how true is that? So there's all these people who connect with aliens and the Grand Council and the Circle of something. I don't know, they've got all sorts of fancy names. Yes, wasn't it, Kelly? Such a great answer. And it made me smile. I hope it made you smile too. And Tanya. So, so these people out there that, are connecting with aliens and so forth, and they're all doing these forecasts, and these are what people are sending to me. What do you think about this? And I must admit, I just go direct. I'm not interested in what other people are bringing forward. It's a way of being distracted. It's a way of creating unnecessary questioning and wasting time, really. So to have a forecast into next year, well, we could guarantee that there will be a war, there will be food increases, there will be storms, there will be lots of suffering and death. It's sounding pretty good so far. We can guarantee all of that. So you don't have to be a mystic or in contact with any great council of the whatever plane of Jupiter or whatever to know that that is what is in the forecast for next year. Because history repeats. And when have we had a year in your lifetime where we haven't had any of that? The answer is 0. And why? Because of the masses. Because the masses are following the establishment. And nothing is going to change until they stop. But where does that leave you? You beautiful souls who know different and want to know different. Well, it leaves you in the place where you are meant to be, which is in the present, coming to a place of greater connection, alignment with your soul, and beginning to really unravel what it is that your soul is here for. And what wonders it holds for you in this life. So when we come back next year, the first masterclass I'm going to run in the Spirit Seeker Society is about abundance and cultivating abundance in everything. So for most people, abundance means money. But you know what? It actually works the other way. When your focus is on an abundance of alignment with love, compassion, kindness, faith, everything else falls into place. But hey, it looks more like fun when we talk about money or building something bigger or having abundance in business. So I'm going to follow up from the abundance masterclass with slave or master. Are you slave in this life, or are you master? Are you slave to where you work, or are you a master in where you work? So this is how we're going to begin the new year. We're not even there yet, but I'm just tempting you, teasing you, because these things are really important. These things mean that you come into a greater awareness and you step into the Christ consciousness, the God consciousness. And in there is only abundance. There is no lack. There is no pain. There's no suffering. What Kelly's got here? What's he saying here? People are looking for hope outside of themselves instead of doing the inner work of cultivating faith and connection. Absolutely spot on, Kelly. And of course, that is in the masses. So pray tell, how can we possibly see anything different than having a split in humanity when that is where the majority of people are at? Looking outside of themselves, believing outside of themselves. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying that this is about perfection and, everything's hunky-dory and we don't have times of worry or concern. And we don't have times where perhaps someone around us has brought some kind of discord or upset. That is all part of the human disease. The human condition. Freudian slip. And it really shows where you are at in your alignment with the Christ consciousness, your own divinity, and God consciousness, with how you work with those things. So when somebody upsets you, how do you bounce back? How do you work through that? If you have your own business and clients leave or they start complaining, how do you work with that from a higher vibration, a higher frequency? It's really, really your choice as to how you work with your divinity and with the divine. And this is where you become the ones who make the difference in the world. So being able to align yourself with your soul and sit in a place that is very powerful, then you are serving your soul. And as a result of that, you are serving humanity. Worrying about a forecast of the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next 9 months, I really like the answer from the messengers of the divine. How can they be worrying about something that is yet to be in existence, if at all going to be in existence, and also having a look at the history of humanity? And it's like rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. There is no change. And there will not be any change because of the masses. So your choice is being one of the unique who choose to sit in your golden self, in your amazing, unique self. And through that, you generate that energy out into the community and out into the greater level of energy, greater consciousness. Now, if you wanted to connect to the higher consciousness, the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness, that is there for you to do. And that shifts your life exponentially. And this life becomes a whole different experiential experience. It is fascinating to watch how people behave and their choices around staying in the old, staying the way they've always been because the family won't like me if I change. Staying the way they've always been with their work because they fear they can't get anything else. Or, I've been here for a long time and I know the ropes. Oh, ho hum. Boring And the soul would be very bored with that as well. So how many of you actually introduce change in what you do, how you do, on a regular basis? Change within yourself. So being able to really observe yourself in how you are processing things that go on around you every day, not every other day, every day, and sitting in yourself to see what's going on with you in the day. As Kelly mentioned, they're always outside themselves. So it's very easy to point fingers at other people, or, if you're one of the masses that watch the news, then you'll be consumed by what you've heard on the news, which Lord knows how you know it's even true. So, guilty Lisa previously. Yes, Michelle. And Tanya working on it, practicing every day. Well done, girls. It does take courage, Michelle. It really does, as you know, in the path you've been on. And Tanya, let's look for a different word than working on it, because of the way that we've been raised to believe, and we've been conditioned to believe that anything worth having, you've got to work hard. When you go to school to get good grades, you've got to work hard with your studies. So the word work belongs in the institution. It belongs in the establishment, and it belongs with a very low vibe. So you want to find a different word about what you are doing. So you could say along the lines, I am in a phase of alignment to know my soul. I am in a phase of alignment to know my soul. So really begin to have a look at the words. And yes, it takes a lot of courage. It also takes a commitment. It fascinates me what people are prepared to commit to and what they're not prepared to commit to. And money is the easiest excuse, and it is an excuse. Yes, we all have times where to align with my soul. Nice, Tanya. Money is a direct reflection of where you are in your beliefs, in your belief of yourself, your self-worth, and whether you are master or slave. Money is something that has been the greatest and most successful way of shackling the human away from their soul. The soul doesn't require money, right? When we are not in this physical body, there is no requirement for money. It's only required here. Now, given that here is an illusion, what's stopping you from creating money? The Indians can create rain through their rain dance. The people in South Africa, Zulus, can, and some others, North America, also Indigenous people in Australia, can actually cause or bring about the death of someone through magic. And of course, it's always touted as black magic. Well, how does that work? It works because people believe it. It works because if you get a really powerful shaman, they can shift timelines. Why can they do that? Because nothing here is real. So when you have a look at magic and how powerful magic is, why not become your own magician? Why not become your own magician when it comes to abundance? I'm not going to give away all the secrets tonight. You have to join me next year for the abundance masterclass. if you want all of them. What I want to do here is give you some food for thought. What is your relationship with money? And where does that come from? And when you're thinking abundance, do you always go to money? Because if you do, then your wheel of life is out of alignment and you are caught in the mud of this physical world. Everything is about, me too, Kelly, looking forward to it very much. Everything here is generated by you, and yes, by the consciousness of who you hang around with and the masses. But if you are not in those masses, then you cannot be affected or infected by them. Now, I know of ladies and gentlemen that I've worked with who have a spouse that is not growing, is not evolving, not interested, doesn't believe, all of that stuff. But the husband or the wife knows that there's something else and they come looking. And I've had the pleasure to work with either or in that situation. And the greatest thing that gets in their way is, what's my spouse going to say? And yet here they are dragging the chains along, wanting to be free, so badly to be free, and knowing that there is so much available for them, but they let that shackle pull them back like a bungee rope. It's such a shame. So this is where the courage comes in. And it takes courage to step up and be that powerful source of creativity that you really are. But what an enriching life you get to live. And of course, we put in abundance, healing, health, wellness, well-being. We don't use words like, oh, I'm having a mental health day. No, we don't go down that path, because that belongs to the establishment. And that means you are still linked in to the establishment. So you've got a contradiction in what you are saying that you want to be doing and how you want to live, but you are actually working within the establishment. It doesn't work. You must be able to be more aware of where you're at and how you are working. I meet so many healers, so many people in the spiritual hoo-ha who contradict themselves all the time with where they're at, and they conveniently find a excuse for an injury, for an ongoing illness. And what that really is that they are in the establishment. They are not fully aligned with their soul and with that higher consciousness, be it the Christ consciousness or the God consciousness. I'm going to catch up on your comments here. Tanya, I believe in manifesting for abundance of comfort, love, and happiness. Yes, Tanya, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You don't make me laugh, Tanya. Kelly, I choose to take time for myself today would be a better option, but I feel people find it so hard to choose themselves. Yes, and again, because of them being a slave to the establishment and deciding to believe that, oh, I must be being selfish if I'm going to choose something for myself today. Again, this is a way of seeing where people are really sitting with their level of consciousness, their level of soul awareness. And all these things become a very convenient excuse. And they are excuses. There are no reasons for being out of soul alignment. There are only excuses. And every excuse is an indicator of being caught in the establishment. It's an indicator that there is growth that still is required. And there's an indicator that there is more courage that is required to be one's true self. So when we do the save or the master in the February masterclass, we'll be tying that in with abundance, and we will be looking at how you determine if you're a slave or a master. Are you a master of your soul's purpose, or are you a slave to a dream, a business, a hobby, or to the place where you work? When you approach any of these things with a very open mind, that's where you can open to the messages and the guidance from your higher self, your soul. And that's where you can open to receive the beautiful nudges from your spirit team, your spirit family, your guides, whatever you want to call them. And of course, to the higher masters in consciousness. But let's do one step at a time, because for some people, even that is too much. It's like, oh, I don't know now. Who am I going to talk to, and what's the difference? So it's really important for you to begin to be more aware of where your thoughts are, your mind, what excuses are you using, and what is that really about? So how many of you use journaling? Have you done a lot of journaling this year? And I don't mean journaling where you just spew all your thoughts out onto a page and write it down to endless with no outcome. That's not journaling. I love to do my workshop on journaling from the heart, not to the heart, from the heart. It is really powerful. It's a life-changing, powerful way to journal. So what I like to say is use a junk journal, and that's the one you spew out everything into, and then you burn it. And then you have your real journal that really is where you create, you cultivate, you grow, you evolve, you ascend. Now, there's another word that I would like to use to a lot. What stopped you, Tanya? Another word that I'd like to address for you is ascend and ascension. You can only ever go into an ascension of where you're ready to go. So if someone gets hold of you and says, oh, we're going to do an ascension class, a workshop, a retreat, or whatever, don't place any expectations on that. And if they have great write-ups, about the ascension they're going to take you through, even timeline ascensions, ignore it. If you're going to go into a retreat or a workshop like that, pay no heed to the sales talk. Pay heed to your own soul. And from that, you will then ascend to where you are ready to. You can never ascend beyond where your mind will let you go, especially if your mind runs the show, and where your soul is ready to go. Because you have to remember that your life here has a timeline. It has a span of time. There's no such thing as time, right? But here there is. So you may have signed an agreement that you're here for 80 years. And in that 80 years, you have, who's really good at maths, 80 times 365, you have that many days to evolve, to embrace expansion and ascend. And they will go in incrementals, and you'll ascend at the end of, or you will have ascended at the end of that 80 years to wherever you're prepared to ascend. It doesn't mean that you will do your grand ascension and that's it, you're done. Oh no. Wash, rinse, spin, repeat. Because within, it's lovely, Tanya, a journal of cultivation. So within those 80 years, you've accumulated a whole lot of patterns, beliefs, attitudes, faiths, no faiths, off and on the roundabout, off and on the carousel. And within that are all different aspects of you. And within that are all different layers, levels. So you might get to the end of your 80 years and you will have ascended, evolved, grown, ascended so much of those levels and layers. But the job's not done. So you've got to come back, do it again. Difference between expansion and ascending. Good question, Kelly. So helping people understand, once again, the way words are used. Expansion, you may choose to embrace expansion of a knowingness of your soul in this life. You may choose to embrace an expansion of being able to be the master of compassion and really have an understanding, a soul understanding of compassion. You may choose to embrace expansion of knowing soulful relationships, whereas ascension is the whole soul. The soul itself in its completion goes through a transformation and a transition where it's ascended in frequency. When you embrace expansion and you choose a particular thing that you wish to embrace, then that will shift your frequency, won't necessarily take you to a place of higher soul ascension. And this again comes back to all of those things about the layers, the levels, patterns, experiences. So when we have a soul ascension, you would then move. So there are different levels to the realms. There are different levels within what we call heaven, what some people call heaven. There are different levels within consciousness. So you ascend in consciousness. Is that making sense, Kelly? Oh, cool. Well, clarifying. Would you really, Tanya? It might make you pick up your bat and ball and go, right, that's no more. That's enough. I've been here 1,000 times. You can go to, you can find out how many times you've been here. You can do that through meditation. You can ask, thanks, Kelly. You can ask to be shown, and what you'll get is oh, hello, Slick. Are you awake? Yeah. You'll get a number that will just come out and it will seem random, but it's actually an answer to you. So if you're able to align and connect really well at night before you go to bed, you can ask your guides, show me by morning the number of times I have been in this world, or the number of lifetimes I have had in the physical dimension. And in the morning, you'll just have this random number come from nowhere. And if you are onto it, you'll understand that it is an answer to your question. So good evening, Linda Gold. So that's something that is really cool to master. You can tell master is my favorite word at the moment, is to be able to ask a question when you go to bed at night. You put it to your guides or you put it to God, to the divine. But remember to be specific. And you ask your question and you ask for the answer to be brought to you on waking in the morning, or you can say by the time I've had breakfast, but you give them a timeline, and you will always get the answer, but will you always hear it? That brings me back to this gentleman and his family who just want so desperately to hear from their wife and mother, and every time she's come through, they've wanted to balk at it. And I understand grief, absolutely understand grief, but it's such a it's such a hard thing for the loved ones because it takes a lot of energy for them to come through to this world, and very exhausting for them constantly trying to get a message through. The same as your guides and the angels, they always answer. But what's everyone's favorite thing? I never get answered. My prayers aren't answered. My wishes aren't answered. So not true. What it is you've already set your mind as to what the answer should be. And when you don't get that answer, you decide you haven't been answered. And that's what I find in readings a lot, is people come preset in what they believe should be talked about, and the answer, well, that's all head stuff, and it's never going to work. Spirit doesn't work like that. Yes, Tanya. Yeah, if you're a person that needs it in they'll bring it to you in a format or form that works for you best. Absolutely. So you could just see it like on a screen in front of you, 88 or something, 8,888. And you need to realize that is your answer, but your mind will go, really? So what if you had an answer back about how many lifetimes and it came up as 10? You go, really, 10? Oh, I think I've been here more times than that. And anyway, I had a reading with a clairvoyant and they said I've been here lots of times, And there it goes. There goes blah, blah, blah. So it all comes down to the willingness, the faith, the trust, and the belief being unwavering. And it also requires you to have that very beautiful alignment, that connection with your higher self, with your guides, with the angels. So Christ consciousness, God consciousness. And that is also something that takes cultivating in this life. For most people, it is a journey, and that's why when you finish 80 years, you're like, oh, done and dusted, did that, and then you find, I didn't make it in the gates. You're in the line to come back. That's why. Because there is still some unraveling, some healing, some deeper knowing. Can you go and stay? Can you go and say, right, that's it, no more, I'm done, don't want to go back? That is totally up to you and your maker. And good luck with that. If I have to keep coming back, then I think you should too. I think that's only fair. So we are coming towards Christmas. Now, I wrote a post in our Spirit Seekers Society today. Place on earth, and with whom have we met before? Where we belong. Where you belong? You belong wherever you are, Kim Jane? Or do you mean where you belong in the ethers, in the heavens? Yeah. I would ask those questions as an individual question for each one. And I would also check with myself as to what my purpose is of wanting to know that, because that's another thing about your questions. If it's not something that is deemed that is necessary for your evolving and your experience in this lifetime, it won't be answered, right? See, I would revisit that question, Kim Jane. You really need this for everybody. When you're going to ask a question that you would like answered the next day, sit with it, and you need first to be very clear as to why you're asking that particular question, because if it is not relevant to the soul's experience in this lifetime and its purpose, it won't be answered. It can't be answered because it's deemed a question of the mind that belongs in this world, and that's of no interest to the soul. Remember the message that I got when I was doing some healing on my own table for this head injury, and they said, now you see, the physical body is of no consequence to us and is not important to us. Only the essence of you is ever protected. So you really need to be on the ball with things that you want to have answered. I hope that's a help and makes sense to everyone. So Christmas time, what I'd like you all to really think about when you sit around the Christmas table, think about what you have embraced this year. Think about what you can let go of from this year. And, you know, it sounds contradictory because we talk about being present and being in a place of awareness. But when you don't practice that every day, you will find that there are things that you've carted along with you throughout these 365 days. So spend a little bit of time at the Christmas table offering yourself to surrender, and to surrender all that is not of your soul's highest purpose. And that could be your blessing at the Christmas table, that you surrender and you hand up everything that is not of your soul's highest purpose. And what you're working towards there is closing this year, finished. Close the door on it and leave it behind. Take only the best of this year with you, meaning the best that has offered you some closer alignment with your soul, a greater knowingness of who you are, beautiful treasured moments that sit in your heart, but do not be attached to those. Really be careful with what you take into the new year. The new year offers you an opportunity, a clean slate, and a chance to start afresh. So as you sit around the Christmas table, surrender yourself and also ask your loved ones to be present. Whether you hear them, see them, smell them or not is irrelevant, but invite them to be present at the Christmas table. Check with yourself your conversations that you have around the Christmas table and throughout the festive time. Leave the ones that are not of your higher purpose. Begin a different conversation. And as I wrote to the members in the society today, be aware of overindulging. And we always think of overindulging in food because often we end up with food coma at Christmas time and eating too much. Now, what's that really about? What is that? Is that because there is a sense of lack? Is that because there is a sense of fear that tomorrow might not come? So you're having that big last feast? What is that overindulgence about? You know, most of the countries of the Mediterranean part of the world have food as a celebration, bringing family together, bringing community together. It's absolutely beautiful, but they can also tend to overeat through doing that. And this is actually one way where you are kept out of alignment with your true self, because food dumbs down your receptors. You don't have to smoke, drink alcohol, do drugs, be addicted to medication, illness, sickness to be out of alignment with your soul. You can simply eat all the wrong things. Oops, did I say wrong? Oh, no such thing as right and wrong, is there? Oh, fiddle. So food needs to be considered as a vibration frequency opportunity. And yes, most of us like a chocky or a chocolatey Eclair or I don't know, something yum every now and again. And that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I know my mentor, Mr. Paul Check, would probably disagree, but life's for living. So you've got to enjoy some things along the way. But one thing to be mindful of over the festive season is how you hold your energy, how you hold your vibration, how you hold your heart, and not overindulge in emotionally triggering conversations, and to pay attention to yourself being emotionally triggered. So practicing your own awareness and your own alignment throughout each day is your greatest tool. And it's where you'll find harmony and peace, no matter what the chaos is around you. Let me just see what you're saying here. Makes sense. Thank you, Tanya. Kim, yes. Let go of attachment. Love your words. No, you're welcome, Kim Jane. I love you all come along to have a chat. It's a shame we're not sitting in a room where we can chat together, but I do love that you all come to join me. Thanks, Tanya. Why do we feel we need to do that? What's that? Eat too much, Tanya? Christmas Origin. Oh, Joe, there you are. Christmas Origin is a midwinter festival and feasting to get through the winter. Well, there you go. There is a reason for the indulgence, but once again, it still wouldn't be to the state of a food coma. So having a look and where we live, so we are not in that situation where we're feasting to get through winter. And that also brings me to the point of sparing a thought and some energy for the children, for the people around the world who will be starving. And that is a fact, who will be starving while we are indulging and overindulging. So, balance. See, white owl with spread wings in your introduction. The owl is my totem and the owl is my logo, Kim. The wise owl who sees all. And that's what I say to my clients, don't fib to me, I look for myself. So the owl represents, it represents me as spirit medicine woman, Kim Jane. Oh, no, we're definitely not in winter. You're right about that. And Christmas will probably be cooking hot. So I wish you all wonderful blessings throughout the festive time and encourage you to finish this year strong, finish this year and close the door on it. Let go of things that are not going to serve you into the new year and surrender yourself for a greater awareness and a beautiful new start to the new year. And I myself be keeping away from trees or mysterious things. But that's the aim. Jean Hartman, so glad you're here, and thank you. You're very welcome. Yes, Joe. You're welcome, Lisa. Much love to you all. Thank you, Kelly. Yes, Merry Christmas. See you in 2024. So I will change the registration on the website so that you can register for the first one for the new year. Thank you, Michelle. Many blessings to one and all. May you all be in divine light and have the most beautiful, beautiful time with yourself and with your loved ones, both in the physical world and in the realm of spirit throughout Christmas. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you all next year. Thank you, Tanya. It's always so lovely. Thank you, everyone. I say good night. Have a beautiful night and a wonderful Christmas. Ta-da! Actually, let's go out with, where's it gone? Let's go out with this again.